And I think with our job, another thing which is very important is that I kept studying every year, which is again short-term courses, but it's very, very, very important.
Okay.
So even till date, even though I've been around for 10 years now, I still go and do an updation course every year, or sometimes even twice a year, which could be in the form of a masterclass. It could be in the form of short courses, which is like 2 weeks, or anything spanning from 1 day to like 3 days or 5 days. So I still, so yeah.
Okay, cool. So last two quick questions. I know I said that was the last two, but I thought of one more that I really liked that you had talked about at the beginning of this this podcast, which is you were saying you're really up to date, right? And I think to the novice, somebody like me, again, ignorant dude, like, what do you mean? This is not software. Like you're learning a new programming language, but obviously I've seen a bajillion people on YouTube who are milking it and killing it and stuff. So is like you have to really stay up to tune and modern and really on the cutting edge of what does the makeup industry move that fast, or is it?
Yes. So it's shocking because I think I do at least 2 trips to New York every year, and I'm like shocked by the amount of makeup, like the new brands that come in. And I think more than that, I also do a lot of trade shows, and where the latest of the makeup, I get to see all of that even before it hits a brand. And I'm amazed at the amount of makeup that comes in. So it's simple. Like if I did a smoky eye 2 years ago, I'd use about 6 products, whereas now it would like reduce to like 3 products or 2 products. So that's how much the technology bit of the makeup is changing. And I think because lot more companies are kind of getting into makeup, it's crazy. It's sometimes it's even impossible to keep in touch and stay updated about a lot of products. And honestly, as a makeup artist, I don't even know half the products that exist, which I shouldn't be telling, but that's the amount of products that are around, and it's crazy to even keep a tab on what is coming out every month. But I think at the same time, when you do these trade shows and exhibitions and masterclasses and different kind of thing, you get to see other makeup artists, you get to see a lot of educators using these products. And for me, that's a great way of updating my own skills as well as my own product knowledge. And I think for me, that has been very, very important. Even in terms of my growth, the whole thing of updating was just not the products, but be also in terms of skill. I always did short courses, at least minimum one every year. And I think that's something that's contributed to my growth in the last 10 years. And it's put me in this place where I'm in, which technically would take somebody, say, 12 or 15 years or something to reach the place that I am in, and I've been super grateful about that. But yeah, it's a lot to do with the way I've kind of updated my skill set, and as well as product knowledge. So it's a combination of two, and that's very important because I think a lot of people in India, or at least the established makeup artists, after a point they get very complacent.
Oh yes, thank you.
They get very complacent, and I think they feel that they've arrived, and it's just not the top established ones, but it's also when people start making, say, X amount of money, they feel complacent and they don't feel the need for pushing themselves to learn something else or to update themselves. And one of the classic case was I had this masterclass about 2 years ago, and I always went and did these masterclasses internationally, and every workshop costs a bomb. It's like with your traveling and everything, it's like minimum of you have to spend anywhere between 2 lakhs to 6 lakhs for a 1 week or that kind of a thing. So the idea was to bring it down and get a lot more artists so that people in India could access it. And I produced this whole thing myself, and I did those personal calls to all these artists to come attend it. And I was so shocked at the
attitude and the ego.
Yeah, the ego and the attitude.
Preach on.
Yes, yeah. But at the same time, and I think it's interesting because the only thing they were like, oh, what are the free makeup goodies that we're going to get with this? And I was like, this is, and we were getting the best of, the makeup artists to the country. And for me, it's like whenever I know that someone's doing a masterclass anywhere in the world, I just pack my bag, block my date, and I just go. Because for me, it's like
FaceTime, and it's invaluable.
yes.
Yeah.
And then here there were people like, oh, okay, will I get a, like, you know, what free products will I get? You know, will I get a certificate? Some people didn't even know who these people were. I was like, at least, you know, good thing is you are aware that these people exist now and you can follow their work. But just the attitude of not wanting to learn, and it was a struggle. I guess I would have called at least about 400 makeup artists personally, and I must have had a chat with them for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and a lot of them didn't really end up signing up for the course. But 2 years, 3 years later, you know, people still send me these notes saying that I'm not doing really well, you know, I don't know what is it, but, you know, and they are in that state because, you know, they don't want to help themselves. So it's
the people who didn't end up taking the course. Who didn't end up.
Yes, or they'll be like, oh, what is this product that you've used on so-and-so person? I was like, well, I've, you know, and coming from a fellow makeup artist, I mean, that's not cool because we all have done, you know, your research and you've done
the hard work of figuring it out.
And these are the same people who didn't want to sign up for a workshop because they were like, we know it all. And, you know.
Oh, that's why. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. And a lot of them don't invest in themselves. And that feeling complacent, I think that's where it kind of, you know, pretty much ends your, you know, game. Sure. At least for me, like that's what I think. I've seen a lot of people right at the top of their game, and then the next thing you know, they're like out of work because they're doing the same thing that they did like in 2000 or 2005. They've not evolved